Welcome back, friends, to another little lesson in Monet Cafe. I've got my tea here, got some honey lavender tea, and this is my favorite little teacup. It's just artistic and gets me in the mood. I don't know if you have your favorite cup, but it's awesome. Now, today what I'm going to do is just work a little pastel piece and give instruction during the process. Like we've spoken about before, even in different mediums, some of the same things apply. So regardless of what type of medium you're using, you'll still be learning, okay? So I'm just gonna talk through this little fast and fun pastel. Today's fun, it's relaxed, it's nothing too serious, and again, if we make a mistake, we'll just call it a study, and it was a great learning experience, and we got to spend some time together. So today I am going to work from a little reference photo that I like. I'll pop it up on the screen here. Just a field of flowers. I'm just drawn to God's beauty and nature, and sometimes I like animals and landscapes and just whatever makes my heart happy. So this little reference photo has some neat things going on for it already. One thing that I really like is a sense of distance and depth in a painting to create that three-dimensional effect of really having some depth. Now what I'm working on today is just a piece of sanded paper. It's kind of a piece that I'd had cut up a long time ago and found these little scraps of paper, and I thought this would be a good one. I guess this is about maybe a 5 by 7. And I try to work in standard sizes so that if I want to frame it afterwards, you're not stuck with having to go to a professional framer. You can get a standard size frame to put it in. Or you can sell it just as is and have someone else get it framed. But anyway, what I typically do is I start looking, like we've talked before, you want a good composition. It is like the great bones of a painting. And so even though my reference photo is almost a perfect square, I decided to do something vertical today. And it's not all that hard to do. So what I do is I'm just going to take just a general harder pastel, and I'm just going to sketch in some ideas with regards to this landscape here. Now, we've talked before about the rule of thirds and how we like to keep thirds going on in a painting or in a drawing. What that means is you don't want your horizon line right in the middle. So I'm trying to give this distant tree line a sense of depth back here. I know I want some sky, okay? So I know I've got this trees going on, and this is all just really rough. You want to keep it kind of random and fun, and I'm going to kind of carve these trees in later. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some values. We've talked about values already. You want to get kind of a general value study. And these grasses and these flowers, I want to keep this free flowing feel to them. I know they come up kind of high here, so I may have a few popping out here and there, and I may just kind of sketch in a few stars of the show. You know, I'll just give an idea of these flowers. And even though the flowers are, I wanted to show my little palette. I've chosen my palette of colors here. Just kind of, I looked at the photo and I decided what kind of colors I wanted and values I wanted. So I'm going to pop in some of these flowers that are, you know, kind of randomly. Again, we don't want too much consistency. I might decide these look too much right in line with each other, but you know, I'm just doing some flowers. The rest of them I can put in kind of after the fact. All right, and then we've got some grasses kind of growing up in here. We do have a lot of dark down here. And at this stage, it always looks just kind of like a mess, you know? But I'm just getting an idea of where things go. I know that these grasses, these are more in the shade. These grasses, there's a place back in here where there's more flowers growing up. These are more in the sunshine, okay? So now I kind of just see, okay, I got a background going on here that kind of goes with the rule of thirds. I'm gonna let these flowers kind of meander around to draw the eye in. That looks like just a mess, but it gives me an idea of how to start laying things down. I really like in the reference photo how it looks like the clouds are coming out. I'm not sure how that'll progress as I go, but I'm going to go ahead and just lay in some basic colors. I think I'm going to go ahead and put in kind of maybe just like a medium blue first with the sky. Sometimes if you do decide to do or play around with this in pastels, I usually try to clean mine off a little bit with a paper towel or something if they have dirt on them. So anyway, this is the sky kind of coming out a little bit like that with some motion. And the sky's going to peek down a little bit through these flowers, but I'm not going to get too fussy about that right now. Okay, I may add a little deeper blue Again, we've talked about how skies deepen and darken up in the upper levels. So we may do that a little bit. I may add a little bit of lavender in the sky too to kind of bring some harmony to the lower part. Now this is a very rough sanded paper here. I should be able to get a decent amount of layers here. So now we've got this distant tree line going on back here. Again, I'm just blocking things in, and I know they're going to be things in the distance cool in color. They get cooler, not warmer. So it's going to end up being more of a coolish green, maybe even a teal. But before I do that, I do like to lay down a color that's a little bit darker to begin with. So when I add that teal afterwards, they will, I'm going to make some trees, little spaces in them. They will peek through, that darker teal will peek through. Okay, so we got this tree color going on back here. Then I'll add my lighter colors afterwards, and then I'll start carving these trees out. Okay, so now we've got our sky, we've got our distant tree line kind of going on here. And now I'm going to get this midfield, okay? Now again, because colors cool a little bit in the distance, I don't want to do any greens that are too warm back here. So I'm going to just start adding in this distant tree line, kind of the field of the grasses that are more of this tealish green. Okay, a little cooler. And I'll add some warmer greens on top of that, but that are of a lighter value and less boldness and color. Perhaps a green, you know, kind of like this. That's a little darker in value, with some lighter colors there. All right, so now I've got a general idea. We're getting these things to where it feels like things are pushed back. That's usually what I work on first, is getting that values correct with color. Okay, now these closer grasses, we know that they are lighter and bolder in color. So I'm just going to throw in some of this. But you know what? I've used this before from my artist friend Karen Margulis, who says she likes to lay down the dirt. If you just put down light on top of this light, it's going to be kind of flat. It's not going to have much depth or anything. So I'm going to do some dirt laying here. I know I've got some dirt going on underneath these flowers. So we're going to add some in here. And over here where it's darker, I think I'll add, sometimes I have to take my pastels I haven't used before and actually break them. They're too big and chunky to work with. So we got some really good shadows going on in these parts of the grasses. I'm looking at how they're growing up because the sun is not hitting on these. And over here we've got even darker. There's just this really, oh, that's a little too light. I want even darker. Yeah, got some darker greens and stuff going on here. So I want to establish these darks so I get the rest of the value correct in the painting. Okay, so laying down some more. I like this kind of pinkish color here too. Keep this more where it's warm. Laying down some more dirt. And things not only get lighter in value, they get just not so bold. They get softer and closer together as things get further away. Okay, so we're getting some dirt down here. I may have to go back and grab some additional colors. I like some of these oranges I got going on in the choices I've made, but I don't want to get too much of that in the rest of the painting. I want the flowers to pop. And so I'm going to choose a couple more colors, right? Okay, so I feel like I might need a little bit more of that dirt feel in the distant field here. So I think I'm going to add a little bit of that here so I can get the colors on top, the grasses, to show up more than, like I said, on that pale paper. Okay, so we'll start getting some things popping up in here soon. All right, I think I want even some more darker colors in the grasses in the foreground. They're usually darker in value in the foreground. I'm popping this paper all around. Oh, and I meant to mention my little hinge way that I have my painting up here. I used to tape it all around the edges, and I saw another artist who actually just put some tape on the back of the painting and then made a little T. And it's great because you can work all the way through the edges, and it's just very simple. So I like that. Okay, so now getting in these values, getting in the darker values, I'm going to start lighting things up in the distance. I really like some of these purples going on here. I'm gonna add the lights on top of it. Again, I've got a good grit going onto my paper here, so I should be able to add plenty of layers. Okay, these distant trees here, I know I want them more of that teal color in the background. So pretty much, this might be a little too light. It's a little light, but let me get a little darker than that. I think this will work. Got these long, and the reason you put down the darker colors is because they kind of pop through underneath, and it gives almost like a shadow underneath it. Okay, so now I'm just gonna kind of speed things up and work a little bit so this isn't such a long video. So enjoy the process. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I am going to have some fun now. Here we go. So here is the final, how it ended up, and right now I have it sitting on my kitchen counter on a little easel, and you can get these little easels at Joann's and Michael's, and I just wanted to enjoy it a little bit longer. I often do that with my art. I just bring it in my kitchen while I'm working and try to be careful not to splatter any food on it. But this one has already sold, so I'm just kind of enjoying it a little more. And I obviously veered away from my idea to do the pink poppies. I just loved that red so much I had to keep going with it. So anyway, I hope you learned something, and I'll be sure to bring back some more fun lessons here in Monet Cafe. So thanks so much for joining me, guys, and please subscribe if you like this channel. Thanks, bye.